All right. So hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining. Welcome to this webinar on XTM Connect series featuring the Akeneo integration. My name is Philip Schifflers. I will be your moderator during today's webinar. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items. So the webinar will last approximately 30 minutes. You will have the opportunity to submit your questions to our presenter by typing your questions into the questions pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect them and address them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So once you leave today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation, and we would appreciate it if you could complete it and provide us with your feedback. You will also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. All right, so with that, I will introduce our speaker. So together with me, we have Vasilis Moskovos, who's an XTM expert and a skilled professional with many years of experience in the language and translation localization industry. Welcome, Vasilis, and thank you for being with us today. So we'll start by having a look at the agenda. So we'll first have an overview of XTM Cloud and some of its powerful features. We'll then cover Akeneo and how it can help you improve your time to market. We will then have an overview of how these two super tools can integrate and solve a customer challenge by analyzing a real live case study. We will also discover some of the integration benefits. Apart from localizing product information quickly and easily and increasing your time to market, you can also cut costs, save time. Okay, but enough with the spoilers and let's get started then. So first item on the agenda is our introduction. So basically, XTM Cloud allows you to automate workflows, turning PMing tasks into very flexible and customizable tasks when it comes to translation and localization. XTM Cloud is also integrated with a very powerful terminology and TM tools, okay, for increased efficiency. It's a great way to centralize all of your assets and resources around one single platform. And of course, as we will see today, XTM Cloud also has powerful connectivity with different integrations, just like the Akeneo one that we will discover today. Okay, so speaking about Akeneo, of course, for those of you who already are working with Akeneo, you will know that it's a very easy and flexible open source software as a service PIM, product information management tool, okay, that helps you organize and enrich your catalog and store detailed product information. Very handy, when it comes to e-commerce solutions, for example. Helps you build impactful product experiences, collecting data from different sources. It helps improve your team's productivity, providing accurate information, and it also helps you sell faster, right? Improving time to market. All right. So let's have a look at the use case that we have here for today. So using Akeneo's ability to track sales, a retail company based in the UK could notice that their new seasonal range was becoming very popular in Italy. Okay, so to maximize their profit, they decided to localize all products within range into Italian. And they needed a quick and easy way to make sure all relevant product information was sent for translation and sent back to Akeneo once ready. So in the next slide, Vasilis is going to show us how they solved this challenge. Vasilis?
Thank you, Felipe. I'm going to share my screen. Can you make me presenter?
Sure, just a second.
Thank you. So using the Akeneo integration with XTM, the project manager can now select all relevant projects and send them for localization in one quick action. So this is the beauty of the connectors in XTM. We automate the process of sending content, either from a CMS or a PIM, into the TMS, the Translation Management System, allowing the creation of powerful projects utilizing TMs, terminology, and as well as other automations, including machine translation. So the PIM connector, essentially the Akeneo connector, now can send all product names along with descriptions, materials, care instructions, and additional other attributes, as we'll see in the demo, since the integration takes into consideration every aspect of the product within the Akeneo environment. And once the file has been translated, of course, on the XTM cloud, and its final version is automatically sent back to Akeneo. So again, this is the most powerful aspect of the XTM connectors, allowing you a full automated project creation and round trip from your system onto XTM and then back to your system as well.
Interesting. So in a nutshell, the project manager can simply select which products to translate, send them back over for localization with all of their information, and simply wait for the final version to be back inside the PIM, inside Akeneo. Well, that sounds great. Look forward to seeing the demo in a few minutes. But before we do that, we are going to discover some of the benefits of the integration. And so for that, I will make myself the presenter. Okay, so benefits of the integration, as you will discover also in the demo, Akeneo users will be able to define source and target language with the ability to localize any product into any number of languages quickly to react to increasing demand, just like our UK friends discovered with the Italian market in the use case. They will be able to add project deadlines and to track progress in real time, ensuring content is always delivered on time. This is, of course, super important when you're working as a PM. You know what I'm talking about. It will also allow you to cut costs by fully leveraging your language assets. Then it will also enable you to decrease time to market by defining time-saving XTM automated workflows through templates, including also pre-processing, of course. And last but not least, use continuous localization, ensuring content is always up to date without requiring any manual input from project managers. All right, and now I'll hand it over to Vasilis, who is going to run the demo for us. Okay, so Vasilis, I will make you a presenter and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Felipe. Let me show my screen. Okay, so starting from the Akeneo environment, let's have a brief overview of how the PIM system is structured. As you can see here, the project information management system allows you to manage multiple items in your environment. Currently, we have about 1,600 products, and each of these products comes with a plethora, a slew of attributes. So what you see here are the attributes, and any item you see in the system here, such as media or an image or any other item here like size and weight, these are attributes that can be translated. So we take them and map them against the XTM environment, and we send them for translation as well. So we can send either the entire product or specific attributes and families of attributes within the system. Now, within the Akeneo environment, as you can see, there are also families. So a family is a group of specific attributes. So let's say, for example, vacuum parts will contain properties and specific attributes of that product. So for example, SKU, that's an attribute, or Marke, or product name. As you see here, it's already in German. So the complexity of the environment required a highly sophisticated connector able to pick up all this content and send it over for translation. So moving on now from the Akeneo environment, let's pass to the actual connector environment. The connector in XTM has two parts. Essentially, you have the admin panel or the admin server here, and the actual user interface, which is the connector. We're going to start from the admin panel because that's the most important aspect. When you start configuring the system and integrate the connector, you will have access to the admin panel with a slight difference. I've logged in here as a super admin, so I see clients, other administrators, users, and profiles. So this is how we configure and create your integration. We will use the super admin here to create you as a client. So we can add a client here, simply give it a name. And then we create admins for you. So the admin can also create more users. So we just need an email address, add a password, and assign that admin to a specific user. And this client then is active in the system, and that administrator can also spawn more users. So users in the system will have to have these credentials filled out. So we need an email, password, some personal information like first name, last name, and then it can be connected to an Akeneo profile. And also we can show details shared when requesting a translation. We can expose the initials of the user ID, or full exposure for username and surname as well. So once the users are created and you have the admin and your admin has created all the users in the system, then here comes the fun part and the most complicated aspect of the Akeneo connector, which is the Akeneo profiles. So each one of the users can work on one or multiple profiles as well. So the admin can establish and create the Akeneo profiles. So first of all, you'd have to give it a name. It can be associated to any part of your PIM environment. You can assign it to your client here and also assign users. So these users can work with a specific profile. And of course, you can activate it or deactivate it. Connecting to Akeneo will require these endpoints, the URL, client ID, client secret, username, and password, which can be found in your connections. So if you come into a connection here, and you see your connection here, this is where you can find all these endpoints. So we need these endpoints to connect to your actual Akeneo environment. Once that's connected, it exposes more options for configuration. First of all, the Akeneo locale, which will be your default locale of your products there, either English, German, Chinese, whatever. We also give a translation status attribute for the items that are going from the Akeneo environment into XTM and back to Akeneo environment. So this attribute is unique for that language that's been sent from that environment. So let's say we're translating something from English to Polish. When it goes back into the Akeneo environment, it will have this attribute marking it however the attribute may be labeled. So it could be in progress, translation, translated. These are just examples here. So this will clearly define that item going back into the Akeneo environment and its status coming from the connector. And this is the most complicated part here, mapping the families for translation. In my case here, I have mapped all the families. And this gives us a plethora of options, and we have like hundreds of different families. And each one of these families also comes with its own attributes. So you can also specifically select which attribute of that family will be translatable or not. So this is highly flexible, it's extremely flexible. You can configure it however you want, allowing you full control of what is translatable from your system and what is not translatable from your system. So once that's mapped, you can also set a specific attribute on product return. So we can map this one-to-one, and if we have a specific attribute that has a drop list, then that attribute will return with a specific value that can be set here. So I think I had one for focus, but not sure. Let's say that the attribute arm style will have a value of this drop list. So when that attribute goes back into your system, arm style will be armless if that's required. And you keep adding more attributes as well. So this is now the configuration related to the Akeneo environment. Moving on, we are going to the configuration connected with the XTM environment. So you would need to connect to your XTM instance with these endpoints. So you need a URL, company name, plus a user and password. Once that connection is established, you can select customers within the XTM environment. So a customer within XTM, for those who are unfamiliar with the system, essentially is a translation memory, terminology, and configuration repository. Think of it as a box where all your TMs and terminologies live. And you can select multiple customers as well. If you're using different translation memories for, let's say, for different types of content or different departments, you can connect that here. And also you can select specific templates for each of the customers within the XTM environment. So the templates, the XTM templates, is probably the most important aspect of the automation because it's a product template and it contains all the information required to create a project, from translation memory settings, workflows, assignees, further automations, machine translation. Everything is part of that template. So the connector uses a template to take the content from the Akeneo environment and send it over to XTM. With the templates, of course, we can also have them to automatically start. So the XTM PM doesn't even have to go into the system to start the project. The project starts automatically and can also be automatically delivered. So once this is configured, you can also select the source language. That's the default source language. It's just an endpoint. You will also have the option to change the source language, of course, within the connector. And if you're using custom fields in your XTM system, you can map them as well here. So against an attribute from the Akeneo system. So let's say you need to have arm style mapped to one of the custom fields in XTM. In our case, we only have 2, but that can also be mapped, and that attribute will be connected with this custom field in your XTM system. Once that's set, I need to do that now. Once that's set, you can also map the languages between the Akeneo environment and XTM. Now, this is not mandatory because the Akeneo environment uses the exact same language types as XTM, but you can do that to limit the amount of languages you see within the connector, because the Akeneo environment and XTM also have hundreds of languages. You might not want to see all of them in the drop-down list, so you can map them here, and then you only see the map languages. As Felipe mentioned, the Akeneo connector can be fully automated, so we can set the automatic continuous localization at specific time points. So if this option is activated, and I set a time point here, say, I don't know, 12 o'clock every day, 12:01. At that time, the connector will send a call to the system, searching for new content. So if something new appears in the Akeneo environment, the connector then will take that and send it to an existing project back into XTM. We'll reopen the project and update it with the delta, whatever is new. If that project is not open, Akeneo, the connector, will try to create a new project. So this is the continuous localization option. I cannot show it now, just use a manual for this webinar. Additionally, you can also send email notifications. So when the job submitted to XTM has changed workflow activity, so moving from translation 1 to correction to the next one, you will be notified. And as well, when this job is finished and imported back into the Akeneo environment, so you're also notified at that time. Furthermore, we can set the date of the projects to X amount of days ahead, but then we also allow you to change the date. So if this is activated, and you will see that in my environment, as soon as I create a project, it's set to 10 days ahead automatically. I don't have to set the due date myself. I can also use a prefix to clearly see my projects coming from the Akeneo environment, so I don't mix them up with any of the other projects in XTM. And I can also tell the connector to remove archived or deleted PIM files within the XTM environment after X amount of days. And I can also remove any canceled jobs from the connector's environment after X amount of days. So I don't get a cluttered queue of existing projects within the Akeneo environment. So this being the most important aspect of configuring the connector, once that's done by the admin, then you can simply come and start using the connector as a user. So moving from the admin environment We're coming to the user interface. And here you log in using the credentials you created before. Those were created by your admin. And we have 3 different tabs here. The option to add products. As you can see, we have an exhaustive list of products. And since the Akeneo environment is huge, our list can be up to 100 products per page and infinite amount of pages. You can also send attributes for translation, equally same as products, but simply now you're selecting the attributes or the labels of those attributes for translation. And the third tab contains information about your translation queue. So these are the existing projects or finished projects, and you can quickly have a view here of what has either transpired or what is pending. As you can see, we have 2 finished products here and 1 in progress. So let's select some type of content to send over to XTM. First of all, you will see your customers here. Those were set up by your admin. I have either my test customer or the Akeneo customer. The list can go on depending on how many customers you select here. Same goes for the templates. For my Akeneo, I only use 2 different templates, ROMT and my test. I have my source languages here, and if I change the source languages, products will also be updated to include products that have this source language in the Akeneo environment. So for English UK, I have these products. So let's select one. What do we like today? I guess rubber boots could do. And of course, you can select multiple projects, and you can send all these multiple products within one project in XTM, or you can also join all these files into one file and send them over as a continuous file within the XTM environment. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to show only one item. As you can see, the connector already picked up the project name by that product. So if I select multiple ones, this will be updated. And I have to select the target language. Of course, this can be either one language or multilingual project. So I can go German here, French. Sorry about that use case. I thought it was in Italian, but I have only selected these languages for my demo today. And I can also add a description. So here's demo. And the field here for active XTM projects is the point where you see to use any existing projects within XTM. So this is the continuous localization option. If there was a project created with these exact same details, I could simply update that existing project and not create a new one, sending over the content into a new project. Currently there isn't any, so I have to create a new project. Now the due date is empty, but being set up in my admin panel for the next 10 days, I'll just leave it empty and we'll see it automatically populated for the next 10 days. Now, once I've selected everything, I can send this for translation. However, as you can see, this list is quite exhaustive, so you might need to filter out all your items to be sent over for translation. So we give you the option to filter out either based on ID or a specific family or a parent here. So you can search for the family to be equal empty or not empty. And also you can search for different statuses for your products, either enabled products or disabled products. And also for last modified products. That means that the product has been modified in the Akeneo environment for the last X amount of time. And we also have some preset time spans here. Additionally, you can also add your own filter. And the filter here searches for attributes. So you can clearly see attributes in the filter. Oh, I think we already have a question from Matthias. I'd like to see how to include entity references and its data sets. That's a good question. I will show you how to do that when I set the project over. So I can clear the filter now. I think this was already selected. And again, in the connector, you can also manage the families and attributes as well for what can be translatable or not. Might take a while to load for my instance here because I have selected so many attributes here. But again, you can activate or deactivate some of the attributes to be sent over. So let's say marketing, might not be required. And then you can deactivate it from here. So as you can see, we already have 1700 items. I'm just deleting some. And this will just eliminate the options as translatables. So I have selected my item here for translation. My project is good to go. I'm going to send it for translation now. And I see chosen content is successfully sent for translation. If any error occurred, you would see a notification up here. And as we had some previous errors to display, you will also receive a content stack information, stack trace, and you can also copy that quickly for your information. So since the project is created, now let's move on to the translation queue and monitor the project. Project was created today, and I can see more information about it. Status of each of the languages and each of the items sent for translation. Now, it's already finished because I've used my row empty, meaning that everything was machine translated and set to done automatically through XTM, and then automatically returned back into the Akeneo environment. This is one option. You can also, of course, use manual translation where humans have to translate that, and humans are not so fast. They will deliver that in 3 seconds. Moving on to the XTM environment, let's see where our project was created and how it looks like. This, by the way, this is the XTM environment. I've logged in as a project manager, an admin. I have full access to the system. I see all the previous projects created, and I see now my project being sent here. So as you can see, the project was created, source language English, target language is here, and everything is finished due to my template. The template I used contained that fully automated workflow where machine translation, essentially in this case, was Microsoft, picked everything and translated it automatically without even assigning it to any user. But of course, I can always assign it to a user. So in this case, let's open the workbench and quickly see what we translated. Of course, this was machine translated completely automatically. And this is the XTM workbench. This is our computer assistant translation tool, so our CAT tool. As you can see, everything has been pre-translated by Microsoft, and we already have everything set to done. That's one way to create a project, and of course, that's just one workflow from myriads of workflows available within XTM. So let's go back to our connector here and pick the item and see that in the Akeneo environment. So this is the item's ID here. It was selected. If we go into our products in the Akeneo environment, let's search for that ID. Okay, so we got our workbooks here. We see the locale now here being English, and we can change to French. And we already see the translations here. Mijn thétis poets à travers un pavé noir. This is the round trip essentially between Akeneo and XTM. Using machine translation, that only took us a second. Using another human related workflow, let's send something over with a different workflow. So let's use my Akeneo customer here. I'm going to use my VM test profile. I'm going to take something else. Let's send some attributes here. So in this case, we're translating attributes and families. So I can translate the attribute option, the label, or both. Let's go for both and select arm style. Let's go again from English to German and Japanese this time. I don't have any active projects, but it's fine. Just going to send these to this one for translation. Okay, project is created again successfully. And it's already at 50% because, again, I'm using machine translation, or TM was already matched against some of the items can be found here. Now going back into XTM, I forgot to show you the due dates here for the project. Based on the automation that we have from the admin configuration here, that project was already set for 10 days ahead. And as you can see, the new project is the same. So in this new project, I don't have everything fully machine translated, and there is no full automation for returning the file back into XTM. In this workflow, we have 2 steps, translation and correction, and you can also assign users here. So I could just send this to Andreas, and Andreas will take the entire workflow. Again, I haven't set this workflow, this template to automatically start, so the PM would manually have to come in and start this. So this workflow now started, and also we can see that in the workbench, let's see the content we send over. This is an attribute for arm styles. So we have arm style, round, square, and again, everything is being machine translated. Now I'm just going to move forward one of the languages so we can see the change in the queue, in the connector. So I'm just going to finish Japanese here. If I refresh the list in the connector now, Japanese is finished and the German one is still pending. So essentially, this is the entire round trip from the Akeneo environment over to XTM. Matthias' question on entity references and its data sets. The entity references from the products are also part of the family sent over. So essentially, you can send them by selecting multiple items, and this will carry over onto XTM and deliver them there. Did that cover your question, Matthias? If not, then please send me an email or we'll share the contact information at the end of this webinar for more information if you need to.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that very, very interesting demo, Vasilis. I believe we have time for a couple of questions that came through, so I'm going to go ahead and show my screen.
Yep, go ahead.
Great. All right.
Okay, so use data sets simply translated by selecting the attributes, use the reference entity. That's correct, Matthias, yes. By the way, to everyone else in the webinar, feel free to use the Q&A module from GoToWebinar now to ask questions.
All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and enable the webcam. Not sure if people can see me and also see Vasilis. We do have a couple of questions that came in. So we got one question from Andrew, and his question is, how complicated is it to integrate Akeneo to XTM?
The connector integration isn't quite complicated. We just need the endpoints as showed in the beginning. Then we connect to your environment, to your Akeneo environment, and our support or one of the experts will help you out creating the users, set up the configuration, and configure a profile. So it's a relatively easy and simple, well, simple. It's a relatively easy integration. It doesn't take too long. The only, I would say, complicated aspect of that would be the configuration of the attributes in the families. That's the initial configuration from your environment, but it's very fast. It can take, I don't know, a day or two at most, once everything is ready, and then you can start working directly in the environment.
Okay,
even being
great.
one of our most complicated connectors, the integration itself is relatively simple.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thanks for that, Vasilis. We have time for one more question before we wrap up for today. Will there be an integrated user interface in the system? This question is coming from Gabrielle.
This was considered, it might be part of future updates. Currently we don't, we haven't integrated that in the UI. Most of our newest and latest connectors do have that integration. So if that's required or if that's requested by customers, we can explore that option, of course, if that's required. Yep.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Vasilis. I believe that this is all we have time for today. I do want to run a very quick poll with our audience, and it's to let us know whether you would like to learn more about XTM Connect for Akeneo. If yes, of course, you can choose your options there. Perhaps, not at this time, I'm already a customer, but would like to learn more. Okay, I see that, some of you have already voted. I'm going to give perhaps a couple of seconds to give you time to vote. Great. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and okay, I see more votes coming in. Okay, that's great. All right. Okay, so with that, I'll go ahead and close the poll. Great. Okay, so with that, we're going to end the webinar. So thank you everyone for attending the webinar, XTM Connect series featuring the Akeneo integration. If you have any other questions, please contact us at marketing@xtm.cloud. So that's an email address that you can use to reach out either to Vasilis or to us at marketing. So once you leave today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation. We would really appreciate it if you could complete that and provide us with your feedback. You will also receive a follow-up email with the link to view the recording of today's webinar. And on behalf of XTM and Vasilis and myself, we thank you for joining us today and wish you a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody, and looking forward to seeing you in our future webinars. Thank you, Felipe.
Thank you, Vasilis. Bye-bye.